The love seat.
Are we going to talk about what you came to talk about or what occurred since you got here?
Both.
Start with what occurred since you got here.
First of all, it's good to feel you.
Because we are having a leading edge experience.
That's true. That's
and
what I felt.
sometimes you have things that you want to know about, and we already got that from you, and we already answered that.
Yeah,
which
you're right.
left you in a new place with a new inspired desire. So that's the best use of your experience here.
Yeah, it's funny. You're right. That's how I felt when those two were finished. I wanted to know how come I've been following for a while. With all that I know, and I've been to those high places, and I felt the self-empowerment, how come I'm not more excited about creation? Sometimes I wake up and I'm back to zero, you know?
Well,
back
don't
to...
misunderstand what that means, because once you're in the receptive mode, the impulses that come are the next logical step and the next logical step and the next logical step. The real rush of enthusiasm comes with that first burst of awareness about a desire. Once you maintain that vibration, then it's the next step and the next and the next and the next. If you're constantly having huge rushes about things, that's when it means that you are dropping your vibrational frequency and then regaining it again. So it's actually good news that you're feeling some stability in the unfolding.
I'm not feeling stability. I get up there, and once I get up, like I bridge it and bridge it and bridge it, and like in the morning an hour or two will take me, and then I'm getting like, all right, I found the sweet spot. And then I just give up instead of milking it. And it's like, I don't feel... Here's my problem. I have resistance about releasing resistance.
Well,
and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Almost everyone does, but we think that you are misinterpreting something, because we agree with you. There is nothing as exhilarating as a conscious awareness that you're in that sweet spot where you are in alignment and ideas are flowing, and you're witnessing evidence of your alignment just by the nice people that you're interacting with, by the ease of your day, by the way ideas are flowing to you, by the continuity of your day. And so,
but it's not stable, it's not solid. Tomorrow, the next day I wake up, I was like, man, and back, they put me back down to where I was. It's like those beliefs, they just
we
don't
just threw somebody
solid.
out of the chair a minute ago for something not much different than what you're doing right now.
You're right. Okay, I'll shut up.
You must not argue for your limitations.
Okay, I just wanted to expand on that.
Of course it takes practice to maintain that stability, but here's what we want you to feel, to know, while we are knowing it and expressing this to you. There will never be a time that new desire will not be rampant within you. So there will never be a time that there is not some gap between what you think you want and what is manifested. But the maintenance of that sweet spot, we are appreciating your contribution here, because that really is what living happily ever after is.
More conditional.
And there's something to be said for not demanding this high intensity movement at all times, but resting in the satisfaction of the natural unfolding. In other words, we think the sweet spot feels like these things. It feels like exhilaration, especially when you first realize a desire. And then it feels like interest or knowing. It feels like satisfaction. It feels like ease and flow. It doesn't feel like bouncing off the wall enthusiasm every single minute. That would be exhausting to you, and that actually is more of an indication of resistance than just that nice ease and flow. Now, if you are really plummeting into true agitation or despair or blame or something like that, then it might be good for you to tune yourself a little bit by working on some processes to help you to focus more in the direction of what you're wanting. The reason that we are offering to Esther a vibration that has inspired her to find the word witness, the reason we are wanting you to feel what witnessing the good that you have accomplished vibrationally, that really is what deliberate creation is about. Which what it means is, watch for the results of my mood. That's all that we're asking you to do. Watch for the results or the evidence of your mood. It doesn't take very much. Esther sat at a Taco Bell not too long ago and saw a policeman pull over a woman who appeared to be intoxicated, who had a child in the car. And as Esther watched it, he was talking harshly to the woman through the window, and she was upset, Esther could tell. And then he asked her to get out of the car, and she did. And when she did, her little child got out of the car too. And now the mother is crying, and the child has his arms wrapped around her legs. And so the mother is crying, and the child is crying, and Esther is crying, because it just looked like such a sad scenario. And Esther is wondering, what can I do to help? Should I vouch for her even though I don't know her? Should I pay her expired parking tickets even though I don't know if that's what this is about? What could I do to help? And then Esther wisely came to the realization that this isn't for her. She can't be the path of least resistance for others. And she drove away feeling the sadness about what had happened.
What was she witnessing to begin with?
She witnessed something. Why would she see it? Because it all happened at Taco Bell.
What was that thing in her reality, and then she felt powerless?
Because Esther wants to be an uplifter, because she cares about being of value to others, because she sees herself as the answer of some questions, because she has the wherewithal to be of assistance, because this is something that Esther's trying to get a handle on too.
But she wasn't of assistance to them at all. She just drove away.
Because she realized that if she had gotten involved, the policeman would not have honored it. He would not have allowed it. He would have told her to get back in her car. She was wise enough to know that she took that resistance far enough and felt it long enough that there was not value in moving forward with it any longer. So here was the mood that she experienced, and you make a good point. How was she able to get to that mood? Well, it's really beside the point how I got to this mood. I'm having this mood. And so what we want to explain is what came next. The next day, she's in another part of the city, driving to the dry cleaners, and looked in her rear view mirror, and here are those shiny lights of the policeman, because she's speeding in a residential zone. And so he pulls her over. He gave her a warning ticket, not a speeding ticket, and asked her, do you know how fast you were going? And Esther said no. And he said, you were going 39. Do you know what the speed limit is? And Esther said no. And he said, it's 35. And Esther said, I did not know that. And so she left, and that actually is the slowest she's ever driven through there.
With it on the R8, right?
That's the slowest she has ever driven through there. But now, you see, you make a point. Esther was sitting there with the vibration at Taco Bell that she didn't know she had. And because she didn't know she had it, she attracted the next logical step, which was witnessing something that was unpleasant. Now she's witnessed something that's unpleasant. She pondered it for a while. And now, when she gets pulled over by a police officer of her own attraction, now she's making the correlation between the mood and what happened. In other words, thoughts turn to things. And that's what we're saying to all of you. Esther, as he drove away, she didn't laugh until he drove away. She watched him drive away and laughed and said to herself, thoughts turn to things really, really fast around here these days. And moods are reflected by manifestations. And so it's a wonderful thing when you realize that you're in the sweet spot and that you're not.
The thing is, I realized those bad moods, and I realized what they bring, but I'm not, again, I'm not arguing for limitation, okay?
But here's the point that we are both making.
I'm just wanting to know how to be more, don't look too soon for the manifestation. Can you just expand on that?
There's something we want to say before that, and that is, care about how you feel. Care about how you feel.
Unconditionally.
Care about how you feel. And don't be willing to tolerate emotions that don't feel good. In other words, Esther should have pulled her nose out of that. If she hadn't been waiting for her food, she was at the drive-through window, if she hadn't been waiting for her food, but all of that comes. Why would she choose that? You make a good point. Why would there be a delay with her food? Why would she have opportunity to witness something like that? Because she has been asking with very strong fervor, how can I mind my own business? How can I not see myself as the path of least resistance for so many? How can I stop from being involved? When anybody asks anything, why do I feel like I have to get right in the middle of it? And the universe is just giving her opportunity to acknowledge that this is how it works. Whatever you engage in becomes a part of your vibration, and once it's a part of your vibration, then it's going to become a fast reality. And so that's the answer to your question. If that happened to Esther every day for a month, she would never again look at anyone having trouble about anything. But the degree of her attachment or her creation or involvement with that, it was soft and subtle. It was just right for where she was. It gave her the meaningful experience. It made her say, she says every day to herself, several times a day, I love the idea of thoughts turning to things. It's really fun watching my thoughts turn to things, turn to conversations, turn to experiences, turn to flow in traffic, turn to. So once you accept that, then you will more deliberately guide your thoughts. It's like having an experience where you're co-creating with someone and you have an agreement and they don't honor the agreement, and then they want you to compensate for what they didn't do. Well, these are the perfect words. Everyone must experience the law-based given consequences of their own vibrational offering. And there are a lot of uplifters like you and like Esther who are trying to soften the consequences of others' lack of understanding or their lack of deliberate focus. And so the more resourceful you are because you're tuned in to this energy more, then the more likely you are to want to use the resources that are flowing through you in terms of clarity or energy or action or all kinds of manner of things, even dollars. The more you are often inspired from whatever vibration you are feeling to assist someone. And so often it's saying to them, I do this for you because I see you cannot do it for yourself. And there's an offness about that, you see. And so you reach the place where you finally say and mean, I'm going to tend to my own vibration. Everything that I live, my happiness, my joyful accomplishment is all contingent upon me finding that sweet spot and knowing it's sweet, or finding that sour spot and knowing it's sour, or finding that sweet spot and knowing it's brief.
The thing is, that's the thing. I know that's the work that needs to be done, because unless I accomplish that work, nothing will go the way I want to do.
So here's the answer to your question.
Yeah.
You accomplish the work by acknowledging and liking the sweet spot and by never speaking of the sour spot again. That's how you accomplish it, because every time you give words to what's not working, you practice that vibration that will turn to other things. It's such an interesting spiral. When you talk about what you don't want, you set yourself up for more of that. It's just the way law of attraction works. It would be like saying, and we know that this feels like a silly analogy, but it would be like going to the cafeteria where there is a buffet of all kinds of things and picking the thing you've never liked to eat. And you take it over and you eat it and you complain about it the whole time. I've never liked this. I have never liked this. I've never liked this. And every time I eat it, I remember how much I don't like it. And someone sitting with you might say, don't put it on your plate. And you might say, well, show off. That's easy for you to do. I can't resist putting it on my plate. It keeps getting on my plate. I hate it every time I eat it. Tomorrow I'm going to come right back and eat the same thing again. I hate this stuff. I just hate this stuff. And sometimes we think that you think that what our message of allowing is that you'll eat it and after a while you'll start to like it. And that is not what our message is. Our message is only think the thoughts that feel good to you while you think them. And don't blame somebody else for bringing something to you, because as you pointed out, you bring it all to yourself. Why was Esther at that Taco Bell? You said.